Hello everyone, welcome back to another brand new video, and in today's video we are going to be doing our second JJK discussion. Our last one was almost 2-3 months ago now, which is a while even though it's only been 6 chapters in the manga. But joining me today is of course Lucas.
Always happy to be here. Always happy to show them the other time.
Yeah, so we're going to be discussing JJK again today. It's going to be just like a casual podcast type video, a video you throw on the background, you just listen to us yap for a good while about where the manga's going right now, how we think it's going to end. We have a bunch of different topics to discuss, so I'll put those down in the description, so if you want to skip to a certain topic and hear us talk about it, you can do that. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. You ready to just jump right into this discussion?
I'm ready. What's the first on the topic list?
So, the last time that we did a discussion, it was either chapter 258, 259, the one that ended with the cliffhanger of Sukuna popping Fuga. That was the last chapter that we saw, but before we made our first discussion video. So, Choso dying is the first thing that has happened that we have not talked about yet.
God damn it.
Yeah, we're not the biggest fans of this.
So for those that didn't tune into our first discussion, one thing that we were talking about was like we thought would die from Fuga, and one thing that we repeated over and over and over again was there's no way it's Choso, right? Because
Yeah,
we were like, oh, why would you kill him after killing Yuki? But
they just killed him. That was, yeah, we were discussing like, can anyone die here? Because everyone that's here seems pretty important. Or like, I guess Ino is the least important person, but if he dies, it's like kind of
whatever.
insignificant. Exactly. So we're like, well, if you want to make this important, I guess you kill Choso, but then that doesn't, what did Yuki die for? But they did it anyway, so that's kind of what we're here to talk about.
For the good, for the pros, the actual way they did the death, like everything that Chozo says, his hallucinations, his like monologue, him saying, "I'm sorry I have to disappoint Yuki" or whatever he said in the chapter, all of that's good. The actual execution of the death is good. However, I just don't think there's any point in killing Chozo off at this point. Like, for one, like, what's it do? Give Yuji more motivation to kill Sukuna as if he didn't have plenty already. Like,
Yeah.
what's one more body, really? But also, it makes Yuki's death back in the clone games feel just completely worthless.
Yeah, as if Yuki's death wasn't already bad enough with like the Kenjaku hard counter ass pull, that a lot of manga fans unanimously agree that that is something that Gege made a mistake on. And the one silver lining about that death is, okay, at least she sacrificed herself for Choso to live, and we can get to see Choso's journey from now on. But then he just dies 50 odd chapters later with not a lot of screen time in that time, so it's kind of a miss for me. But like Lucas said, the death scene's execution is good, but when you take a step back and look at the like circumstances surrounding it, it worsens for me.
It doesn't feel narratively satisfying for Chozo to have died here after Yuki told him to live on as a human, and then we see no scenes of him really living. Like, how many scenes do we really see of him and Yuji after Yuki kills herself for him? Like, all of them are in the flashbacks in between the month after the Golden Games and before the Shinjuku Showdown. We don't really see him get to live as a human or spend that much time with Yuji. It's all in flashbacks.
That's the thing, is that the Choso Yuji relationship, while being a relationship that everybody loves the brotherly relationship, it's not on screen for as much as you guys think. And especially if you were looking at like the chronology of the manga, or like the timeline in the manga, their relationship, like, there's some flaws here, because they meet on Shibuya, they fight in Shibuya, that's on Halloween. Then they immediately split up because Choso and Yuki stay with Tengen and Yuji goes to the colonies in the Colon Games. So they have that one fight against Yuta and Naoya, and then they immediately split up. And then we get a month off screen when Gojo is like unsealed and they're making their plans. So that is a month that they spend together, but we don't see it on screen. And then they immediately fight on Christmas Eve in the Shinjuku Showdown, and Choso ends up dying. So they've had a month off screen to get to know each other better, and it's off screen. I don't understand what really happened here with this relationship.
I think, to me,
it's rough.
Because even if I think Chozo dying makes Yuki's death feel worthless, which it does, even ignoring that, just in regards to the Chozo and Yuji dynamic, I think this is indicative of a larger problem that we'll be discussing throughout this video, in that JDK's pacing post Shibuya has been awful.
Yeah, that month time skip is really, really not a good decision. I get it from the narrative standpoint of, oh, I'm going to skip this month because they're planning during this month and I want all these plans to be a surprise. Yeah, that's fine. You can still do that with giving us, or while still giving us character interactions. You don't have to just completely skip that month.
This was also something I saw a lot of people complain about even before Shibuya, where I saw a lot of anime fans and even manga readers complain about Nobura's death. A lot of people were complaining about how they didn't really feel like Nobura and Yuji's relationship was fleshed out enough for that death to be earned. And I don't necessarily agree with that as much as I would say, like now with some characters. I do still get the vision where Gege doesn't write these characters interacting as much in just like casual settings. The last time we've seen anyone like hang out or get to know each other better was it the Kyoto Goodwill event, the baseball game? Everything after that's
Pretty
been
much.
nonstop life or death situations. We haven't seen Yuji interact with Hakari and Yuta interact. Like so many relationships are just like based off vibes or headcanons. It's really hurting the manga at this point.
Yeah, like the last time that everyone is in a room interacting before like we get Kyoto Goodwill, then we go straight into Shibuya and no one's interacting because it's just a bunch of fights. Then we get that one exposition scene with Tengen where like all our characters reunite. We have Megumi, Yuta, Yuji, Maki. Everyone's there to talk about Tengen though. They're not really, interacting with each other, and then immediately after that they split up and we go through the bunch of fights in the Colon games. And then we have a month time skip before Shinjuku Showdown that was the perfect opportunity for us to really get to know each other, especially because now we have all the characters that are going to be involved in our final battle in one setting. We have everyone here that is important for the rest of the story, but then we skip a month straight to the fighting, and I just don't think that was the best decision.
And this isn't us saying like, oh my god, they should be playing Monopoly instead of preparing to fight Sukuna, right? No, it's just when Hakari goes, oh yeah, Yuta, I have this Kohai who's inspired me to care more or to live fully or whatever he said to Rame. That doesn't work. That doesn't hit because we never see him and Yuta even talk, I think. We hear Yuta talking about Hakari, but we never actually see why Hakari would be inspired by Yuta's fever. And the fact that we never see that makes us care less about these fights and less about these characters.
Yuji's other brother has returned, Todo, in the same chapter that Choso fucking dies. Todo returns. And that is just evil from Gege. That we never got to see Todo or Choso interact. So, while Todo has been a mostly positive force in the Shinjuku Showdown, there's still some slight problems. Like the fact that Yuji didn't know he was there. Like, what happened in that month where everyone else was interacting with Todo and planning shit, but, like, Yuji doesn't know he's alive? It's weird. This is another thing with that 1 month time skip, is it's also an excuse for Gege to just be like, oh, this happened in that month. I didn't show it because I didn't come up with it yet, but this also had, like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, overall, I think Todo's appearance in Shinjuku Showdown has been really great so far. He hasn't been, like, flanderized or anything. We see how effective he is in combat, how smart he is pulling a fast one over Sukuna, how he is an exemplary jujutsu sorcerer to the fact
Exactly.
the point where even Sukuna's like, oh my god, this guy is the real deal. He takes like 2 Black Flash and lives.
Yuta gets to the fight versus Sukuna right after Higuruma dies. So Todo should theoretically also be there around that same time, and he watches Yuta get murked. Maki, Kusakabe, Miguel and LaRue, all these people, and then Choso dies, and then Todo finally jumps in. I don't understand what he's doing in the time between helping Yuta kill Kenjaku and then him making his first appearance to help fight Sukuna. Because there's so much downtime there that we don't know what he's doing.
The only excuse I think you can even like bring up is, oh, Todo was sitting outside the domain waiting for Sukuna's like last domain pop in case he used it. I also feel a little mixed that like we never got to see or hear from Todo before Shinjuku Showdown, like in between Shibuya and Shinjuku.
I agree.
We didn't get to see like Yuki reach out to him or something like that, just to like
Yes, we never
remind
got a
us of his
Yuki
existence.
interaction. Oh my god, I keep forgetting that.
And like it's small stuff like that that I think could have really enhanced JJK even further beyond its current state, to where like the fact that we're not seeing Todo interact with Yuki or Chozo or anything like that, it just hurts the series' enjoyability and its relationships between the cast, and that's like a real sour spot for this manga.
Yeah, so Todo never got to interact with Yuki, who was his mentor. She died in front of Choso, so Choso could, have a talk with Todo and be like, "This is how Yuki, your mentor, died, and I really liked her, and we bonded." But then Choso dies seconds before Todo pulls up to the battlefield. I, it's frustrating. Yeah, we've been complaining a lot during this segment, but Todo, I'm so happy to see Todo back. The him and Yuji jump jutsu is awesome as usual. And yeah, he got acknowledged by Sukuna as a true Jujutsu sorcerer, and that is just awesome. So I'm even though there's some problems, I am very happy that we got to see Todo again, because if we just never
Yeah,
got to see him again after Shibuya, that would have been such a waste of a character who is one of the best in the entire show slash
and
manga.
it never felt like Toto's story was over in the same way that Nobura's death could have been permanent. Toto losing his hand didn't really seem like there wasn't a way to circumvent that.
Last discussion, we had a little talk about Hakari Urame, the fight that we hadn't cut to yet. So it's been 2-3 months, so we've definitely cut back to it, right? Wrong. We are going on almost a year without seeing this fight.
This fight is ending very soon. Sukuna's dying very soon.
Yeah,
So, like, where's the chance to cut back to this?
I just don't think we are.
There's no way we just don't see this fight.
I have fully gotten to the point where I think we are never seeing this fight. I think that one of Hakari and Urame is going to show up, and we're going to get a flashback to the fight that is maybe 5 panels if we're being generous. I really don't think we are cutting back to this fight. I just don't. I think that this is a missed opportunity by Gege, and it really sucks for Hakari, who is someone that all of the manga readers have gravitated to as such a fun character, and to see him, this is his usage in the final battle, is just being off-screened for so long. It sucks, but I think that that's what is going to end up happening here.
If the Yuji and Sukuna fight, the final fight series starts, you can't just cut away from that to show what Akari's doing. But like, I just don't know why we haven't seen it earlier. Like, why is this fight just not happening?
I genuinely think it's just because you needed to get these two characters out of, like, basically you have to have these two characters fighting and removing themselves, basically, and you also cannot show one of them winning, because then for weeks and weeks and weeks you're going to be like, all right, but why isn't Hakari here yet if he won like 5 chapters ago? And it's just going to keep going like that. So I literally think that these two are going to stall each other out until the fucking arc is over. Then, after Todo returned, there was another big return. It was Gojo. Gojo was back, except it's not Gojo. It is Yuta in Gojo's body. Lucas, what did you think of the Yujo incident?
Oh God. Okay. Um, I think the actual moment and the action is great. It's great. It's a great thing for Yu's character.
But
But he ended up doing nothing. And people say he stopped Sukuna's domain expansion.
why
Here's
did he
the
have a
thing:
domain expansion though?
Sukuna shouldn't have had a domain expansion. He had just popped Fuga not 5 chapters previous, and suddenly he can pop domain again. It doesn't make sense. How does that work? Why do we need Yujo to come in to stop that domain that shouldn't even been there in the first place? And worse than that, he didn't do any lasting damage to Sukuna or anything significant to where it feels like the only reason he was here was for that shock value and for that cliffhanger that made everybody cream their pants. I truly think we could have just cut the whole Yujo part out or had done it differently and just went straight to HANA and just have Yuji pop domain But I am curious to see what they're gonna do with Yuta now. Because
Yeah.
either
Is he dead?
he's either dead. If he's dead, and that sucks. This is a terrible way to kill him.
Yeah.
He just lives in Gojo's body.
That's even worse.
Yeah, that would be the worst way to hurt this character.
Mm-hmm.
Or he just like gets back into his own body, which is minced to bits. Which I guess maybe Jacob's ladder could do that or something. Like we'll have to see. But if Yuta is either dead or stuck in Gojo's body, I will be a bit upset.
Yeah, there's still more with him because if that his last moments on screen, like if there's seriously nothing after this of him just being like, oh man, I didn't do enough. I hope Todo and Yuji can bring this through. That's a horrible conclusion. Horrible conclusion. We need another scene or two of him wrapping up his character if he's really gonna die like this. Because even like we've seen Maki's reaction to like him bringing up the plan where she's like, "No, don't do this." We need to see her reaction to him actually going through with it and potentially dying. And then speaking of Maki in general, she's been gone for so long. I don't even. Where is she at?
Moving on from that. Our next topic discussion.
Hana showed up.
Hana. And I cannot believe I am saying these words. People memed it. It actually happened.
He climbed
Sukuna climbed
ladder.
the fucking ladder. The move specifically designed to kill him. He just straight up tanked. And I get one arm output lower. Sukuna has been weakened this entire arc. And you're telling me he can fucking walk through the move designed to kill him.
Not only walk through it, parkour off of various different debris to jump up to Hana. Anyways, Hana the character, I'm glad she's here because I'm pretty sure I mentioned her in the last discussion of like a character of like where is she. So I'm actually glad that she did get to participate. However, then we get this whole explanation from Yuta about how she's the trump card, even though Yuta literally just almost he might have killed himself to try and kill Sukuna by switching bodies with Gojo, but Hana's the last resort. I don't know how that makes sense, but I'm glad that Hana showed up in the final battle, but then her getting hard countered by Sukuna climbing the ladder. It's outrageous.
People were memeing about it on the fucking Reddit pages. And then he just
shout out Jujutsu Full.
Like, no matter what you think about this final arc, you cannot tell me that there wasn't a better way to have Sukuna survive Jacob's ladder than literally just tanking it. We saw what it did the first time. Lower output than not, that shouldn't have done literally nothing to him.
Yeah, it didn't. He's literally climbing up the beam. The first time he gets hit with it, he's like screaming out in pain. It's horrendous. He's gonna die if Hana doesn't fumble. But this time he's just climbing up it, no problem. It doesn't even look like it looks like it's just a beam of light that he's just like, this hurts my eyes, I guess. He's not. It doesn't look like he's even being affected by it. That's gonna be interesting to see animated because I guess they can salvage it there. You know, you don't get the full grasp from some panels, but still, the optics of that were not great.
Now, for the most exciting part of the video, our GOAT,
Yuji Itadori,
pulling out the last quarter domain expansion. What do we think about that?
I mean, Yuji just popping domain in general, hype as fuck. That is, I'm so excited for this.
There was no way to fuck that up, but flashing back to the first time we see the domain expansion and being like, attacks within a domain are for sure to hit, and then pulling the Yuji panel of him making the hand sign, perfect. Remind me of why we love the series.
So after that was the cliffhanger of 264, and we just got 265, which was Yuji and Sukuna just yapping. And it seems like that it is a good chapter. I think the initial, Yuji telling Sukuna about all these things was a bit too long, but it still is really good for Yuji's character, and his speech at the end is fucking awesome.
It's Yuji moving on from his cog mentality and finding value in just living and not a proper death. It doesn't matter how you die, it matters how you live, and that's a perfect ending for Yuji's character.
It's also the complete opposite of, like, when Mahito explains what humans are to Junpei. Yuji completely flipped that and explained it to Sukuna like the complete opposite way.
Which is why we see Mahito in the actual chapter itself, like we
Yep.
flash his face. The entire chapter, I loved it. I loved finishing Yuji's character in that way, him coming full circle, him threatening Sukuna, and Sukuna being
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you think you're the shit? You think you got this? Nah, that's great. All that's great." The actual like domain like taking place throughout everywhere that he's been in his life, amazing.
Yeah, that's an interesting part of it is what is Yuji's domain? Because he's kind of just Memories of the Future style taking Sukuna down memory lane. It's not just like one set domain location, which is interesting. So I'm curious as to what exactly Yuji's domain is. Do you have any predictions about that, Lucas?
I think it has to do with Yuji's soul. I think there's been so much emphasis placed on Yuji's connection with the soul, and so much about how he's been like the kind-hearted sorcerer who it has taken on the suffering of those who have died. I think it has to be related to his soul, maybe his memories. I think all of that's got to be connected to his domain, and maybe his sure hit will either like let him use the powers of people he loves, or um Manhattan split Sukuna and Megumi souls. I don't know what his sure hit would be, but I'm sure it'll be something.
Yeah, it almost seems to me like a non-lethal domain, like a Higuruma type domain. But I'm assuming we'll get the answer to that when we come back from break week for 266.
His sure hit's gonna be shooting an arrow at Sukuna.
Yeah, or boxing ring, guys. It's a boxing ring domain. He's gonna bring him into a boxing ring. I did hear speculation that it's like Sukuna or like the sure hit is something like where Yuji has to like he basically does talk no jutsu them, and if they agree they leave or something, and if they disagree and like want to fight still, then Yuji gets like a buff or something. That could be a thing. I don't know. That's just some speculation I've heard. I really have no prediction here. I'm just excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, nothing has been more long awaited than the Yuji Itadori domain expansion. I'm happy that we're finally getting it.
So that is all the events that have happened since our last discussion, but now let's talk about the events that are going to happen next. Our predictions for how Jujutsu Kaisen is going to end, because it looks to be ending very soon. We said it was going to end soon last time. We're even closer, and this is the final fight. Like, surely.
We would think, but we still haven't seen Hakari versus Arame.
HAKARI versus URAUME is going to be the climax, ladies and gentlemen. But no, really. Ending predictions time.
The biggest question in the ending, it remained in our first video. It's continued on into this video. Will Yuji Itadori live or die? I'm thinking at this point with the domain, with how he said how he wants to transfer back into him, I think it's all but confirmed Yuji Itadori will die.
Yep, and I can't remember what I said. I think I leaned him dying, but you were very heavily leaning that he lives. And now you have 180 because I agree. I do think Yuji has to die.
I didn't think we'd get this Sukuna talk before like the actual battle was wrapped up. I thought the talk we got now would be what Yuji learned after the fight ended, and we'd see that in like an epilogue.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're getting this talk now, the fact that he's flashed back to every single one of his dead comrades and friends, the fact that he wants Sukuna back into him, yeah, just all signs are leaning towards Yuji dying.
Yeah,
It sucks,
I
but
think he's taken Sukuna to the grave with him. And I think it makes sense. We've known Yuji was going to die from chapter 1, panel 1, episode 1, whatever. So it is going to come full circle. I'm interested to see how Gege does it though, because if Yuji dies, there is still ways to ruin it. I think Gege's gonna cook with this one though. He has never really done Yuji wrong.
there are ways that Yuji can live that are good. There are ways Yuji can die that are good. There are ways that Yuji can live that are bad. There are ways that Yuji can die that are bad.
Exactly.
No matter what Gege does with Yuji here, there's potential. He just needs to do it right.
Exactly. But the character that I'm more concerned about, because I think Yuji can get a good wrap up. Pretty much if he lives, dies, whatever. I'm more concerned about Megumi. Because his arc as of right now has been pretty rough. Spending the entirety of Culling Games trying to save Sumiki, just for it to be Yorozu and then him get immediately taken over and be absent from the manga for 60 plus chapters, except for just telling Yuji that he wants to die and getting Yuta world slashed. It's been rough out here for us Megumi fans, and I did say last time, I really, really don't want Megumi to die. I think he's gonna live, but I'm interested to see how they wrap up his character, because this is a character that is easily fumbleable.
There's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that Megumi's living. This entire last arc has been, let's save Megumi. If he dies, holy fuck, what is the point? So he's definitely living. And as you have told me many, many times, you think he's going to get married with Hana
I do.
and probably name his first child Yuji.
I think we are heading towards the epilogue being a chapter called Yuji Itadori, because the first chapter was called Ryumen Sukuna. We come full circle like this. Gege likes bringing things full circle. I think it's narrated by Megumi in a time skip, and I think that he and Hana are an item. I just think that that's where the story's going to go.
I see the vision. It's just we haven't seen Megumi and Hana interact that much, so like if that does happen, I wish.
I agree. But we've also had relationships build for way less. At least one of the characters on screen loves the other one, and that's kind of all it takes sometimes.
And I think what confirms, like, why I think you're actually talking with this one, why you're speaking, is in that most recent chapter, we hear Yuji say, "More than memories made in one's image, it's within the little tiny fragments that remain, drifting off, where the value of a life lies, aka your impact on others, what you've left behind." And Yuji's impact on Megumi, that's going to be the catharsis of that, is Megumi naming his firstborn son, Yuji. You're kind of cooking with that one.
Yeah, I think Megumi and Hana go off into the sunset. I think that Hana stops being a vessel somehow. I don't know how we do that, but, Angel and Hana get separated. Megumi is saved. And Hana, obviously, if Angel's no longer with her, then she can't be a sorcerer. She would have no ability. And I think that Megumi, after all that's happened, deserves a nice retirement. So I think that they would go off into the sunset, get married, have a kid, name it Yuji Itadori, and that is how JJK ends that's my prediction.
But there is one more thing we need to talk about regarding the ending, and that is the state of Jujutsu society after Ryumen Sukuna falls to Yuji Itadori. What do they do? Everybody's dead. Because let's not forget, Sukuna is not the final boss. Even when Sukuna dies, curses will still exist.
Yep, they'll just get weaker, but they'll still exist. So I think that Maki will probably head the Zenin clan, Kamo will helm the Kamo clan, someone will helm the Gojo clan, or the three clan mentality just stops existing. But I think that basically all the students are going to be in pretty good hands once this entire arc is finished.
Who is left to protect the world from curses after Sukuna dies? Megumi's going to retire. There's no way he stays a Jujutsu sorcerer.
Yeah, no shot.
I guess HAKARI would probably say. At that point now, there's no rules and regulations. Maki would probably be there.
Yuta,
you probably gotta see what's happening with him.
Yeah.
Kusakabe's probably alive.
I would assume, yes. Ino is alive. Miwa is alive.
I guess, but also fuck Meme, so who cares? I mean, Miwa's not... She can't swing a sword again. I guess you could see her using a bow staff or something.
Who was my teacher prediction? I fucking had one and I forgot.
Higuruma?
No, there was a different one. Fuck! I don't
Ijichi?
remember. Yes! Principal Ijichi. I think that's going to be a thing. Ijichi promoted to principal. You heard it here first. That's my other ending prediction, even though they might not even acknowledge it. It's not even that important, but I think it's a thing that'll happen.
I pray we get an Ijichi ending. That man deserves it.
He bags up Shoko and becomes the principal of Jujutsu High. That's a legend right
there. Not a whole lot of sorcerers. TODO, I guess, would probably survive too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of just gonna be the students carrying Jujutsu Society going forward, like Gojo wanted. But
yeah, I think we get like Principal Ijichi, and I guess like TODO, and TODO can become a teacher. That would be fun. Also, that was my other prediction. Todo is gonna get Takada. He is going to bag her up.
There's no way.
Yes, he will. He
No
absolutely
fucking
gets
way.
Takada.
He is a creep who has never met this woman in his life.
He has met her, though. He's
Well,
shaking her
he's
hand.
met her, yeah, like the fan. That does not count. He
It
hasn't,
does,
like,
because he's
talked
going
to
to
her.
be a national hero after killing Sukuna, and Takada, potential gold digger, will like
Oh
Todo
my
because
God,
of it.
yeah, all of this is being televised, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Todo bags up Takada,
Todo
Ijichi,
might-
Principal Ijichi.
It can't happen.
It has to happen.
Hikari's
That's his
probably
happy
gonna
ending.
He's probably going to start his Fight Club.
Yeah. I think if we do get a corny shonen wrap-up, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially for JJK after these characters have been through so much, if we get a corny wrap-up, Principal Ijichi, Todo and Takada, Hana and Megumi, you heard it here first. I'm locking them in my official predictions.
Maki and Yuta, if he's alive.
Yeah, if Yuta is alive, yes, that is also going
And
to be a thing.
hopefully not in fucking Gojo's body. That'd be
Dude,
so
if
weird.
that is if Yuta and Maki are an item and he's living on in Gojo's body, we need to find Gege Akutami. All right, those are my final thoughts. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
For as much as we complain about how the chapters have been going, and how much I've disagreed with the last half of JJK's pacing,
We
I
still love
the
it.
franchise. And if Gege can stick the landing with at least Yuji,
And
I'll be
Megumi.
satisfied. And Megumi, yeah.
We shit on it, but we also still love it, and I will continue to be making Jujutsu Kaisen videos for a long time. So that has been our discussion. We'll probably do one more discussion, and it will be when the manga is finally over, and that's going to be a long one, because it's pretty much just going to be a hour, 2 hour plus retrospective yap session from us. So if you're excited for that, drop a like and subscribe. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little discussion.
Us in the comments.
Yeah, that too. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about some of these topics. If you think we're wrong, if you think we're right, anything.
Tell us why Sukuna was able to pop 2 domains in 5 chapters.
Yeah.
Clearly we're missing something.
Binding vows. Check out that video, by the way. Yeah, put your ending predictions down below as well. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. If you guys think that my agenda is correct or not. But yep, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. And as always, have a wonderful day.